we're here in the Toyota Green Room with the man who wants to take you beyond meat.
I'll go first.
Okay. It's actually really good. Can you believe this chicken salad?
Like chicken salad?
Taste it. It actually does, Ethan.
Yeah.
And I have a long relationship with meat, so I was very worried. It's very good. You're going to taste it. It's good.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, with Ethan coming up, how you make chicken and beef without meat. This is made out of what?
It's entirely plant protein, so it's from peas and from soy, and we've been able to find a way to recreate the fibrous structure of meat that people love so much, so that as you're having it, it has that sensory experience of meat, but none of the downside.
Is it good for you?
It's fantastic for you. No cholesterol, no saturated fat, no trans fat. It's just all healthy, clean, plant-based protein.
You've got the texture down, I have to say.
That has been the hardest part.
You've got it with
that
the
has
chicken.
been the most difficult part, and that's the most important part to consumers, because meat is really just a flavor mechanism. And so if you can recreate the texture, you really gone far away.
All right, more on the big name billionaires that are backing Ethan and this product. That's ahead on CBS This Morning.
For decades, scientists and entrepreneurs have tried to reinvent meat, but a Missouri company believes it's on the cutting edge of making that a reality. It's backed by some big and surprising names. In a moment, we'll talk with the founder and CEO of Beyond Meat. He took Dean Reynolds on a tour of the place with a recipe for change.
This is where it's done?
Yeah, so
where are the chickens?
Yeah, exactly.
There are no chickens here at the Beyond Meat plant in Columbia, Missouri. No cattle either. Just sacks and sacks of things like carrot fiber, pea protein, and soy meal, which CEO Ethan Brown and his company are transforming into what he calls chicken strips and beef crumbles.
I call it beef and chicken. It confuses everybody. But that's the only way I can think about it. It's a massive problem. I shudder when people say this is fake meat.
Brown is trying to make his product indistinguishable from those things with the beaks and horns.
Right in here, you'll see, you can sort of smell the aroma coming from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's being flavored in there, all natural flavors, and tumbled to give it a tenderization process a little bit.
Flavor is relatively easy to master, he says. It's the chew that's critical and difficult, even with this texture analyzer.
Do you have human testers?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
I mean, people
Yep.
masticate?
Yes, they do masticate, and I love that word. Yes. Yes, we have masticators. When it cuts across your teeth, it gives you that sensation that you're biting into muscle.
The product is grilled, frozen, and bagged for shipment to some 4,000 stores nationwide.
So do you envision a day where someone will say, wow, that's the juiciest, tastiest piece of pea protein I've ever tasted?
I hope they'll describe it as meat.
Brown says he sees nuggets, wings, and even a faux fillet in the future. For now, though, he says he doesn't want to bite off more than he can chew. For CBS This Morning, Dean Reynolds, Columbia, Missouri.
Beyond Meat is on Fast Company's list of the world's 50 most innovative companies for 2014. Ethan Brown, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much.
I had a little moment of panic in the green room because I thought, what if it's not good? How do you hold your face on straight and be polite? You don't want to insult the guests. But that chicken was really, really tasty. But for those of us who really like meat, you're not asking us to give it up.
That's correct. What we're doing is asking the people separate animal protein and meat. So we can recreate meat with plant-based inputs entirely. So the texture and the taste is exactly the same. So at the end of the day, if you're having beef and chicken and it comes directly from plants with no cholesterol, no saturated fat, or no trans fat, it's better for you and it's better for the environment.
Yeah, but you're somebody who had a relationship with a farm. Your dad had a hobby farm.
Yes.
And so I was very surprised to read that, thinking you grew up you had access to a farm. How you ended up here?
Right. So I grew up in the city, but we spent an enormous amount of time at our farm. My dad had dairy cattle there. But I early on was never able to get past the question of the cows and, for example, my dog being very similar. I was never able to say, okay, one should be treated one way and the other another way, just because one's in the home and one's in the barn. And that stuck with me as an adult. I went into alternative energy, but ultimately came back to that question because I started to see the human health, the climate change, natural resource use issues, as well as animal welfare. So it motivated me to get back into the space and do what we're doing.
So you're a vegan, so that motivates you as well as a businessman, but which is great if you're a vegetarian. So why do you want to eat meat then? I mean, you're creating something that tastes like meat. Why not just eat meat?
That's a great question, and it's one that fascinates me. We've been having meat as humans for about 2.3 million years. So there's a great familiarity with it, the way it crosses across the teeth, the way it bites, etc. And we don't want to walk away from that. You know, fried chicken tastes great, steak tastes great. Let's just take the amino acids, the fats, from another source and recreate those. So we're taking the animal entirely out of the equation. I often think about what happened with the automotive sector, where we had horse-drawn carriages. The internal combustion engine came along and basically obviated the need for the horse in that equation. We're trying to do the same with animal protein.
What was the breakthrough that enabled you to do this?
It's absolutely all around the fiber. That, for us, is the holy grail. It's obsession. We have projects today called Chicken 2.0 and Beef 2.0, where we're focusing on narrowing the gap, on collapsing the gap between our product and between animal protein around texture.
And you got...
How did you get the funding? Yeah,
that's
for this?
just what I was going to say.
Sure.
You got Bill Gates involved. You were nervous, you said to me.
Oh, absolutely nervous when I met with him, and I've had an opportunity now to sit down twice with him, and he was just an absolute terrific guy and super nice. I initially received funding from Kleiner Perkins, and they really went out and stuck their neck out. This is not a usual investment for them, but Amol Deshpande and Ray Lane there made the initial investment. Connected with Bill Gates and then with Biz and Ev from Twitter, and they have been enormously supportive. We have Seth Goldman on our board, Morgan Creek Capital, so we have some pretty strong people behind the company.
But are you saying don't eat meat?
No, what I'm saying is let's not eat animal protein.
Okay, great. I just want to make sure I understood that. And so who is your target audience?
So there are about 70 million Americans in the U.S. that are reducing their meat consumption. And here's an important statistic. So people have a sort of hopelessness about climate change. They say, oh, I don't know what to do. But in fact, 51% of greenhouse gas emissions can be attributed to livestock. If we were to reduce meat consumption globally by 25%, we could address a huge amount of the climate change problem.
And that's your goal, 25% by 2020.
That is absolutely
Let them
campaign.
taste it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let them
Let's
taste
do
it.
it.
It's good.
Yeah.
Ethan Brown, thanks so much. Appreciate
Thanks, guys, very much.
it. And the wolf has people showing their teeth.